So here we are for our Friday night wealth creation course. We do this every single Friday, and it's great to see everybody. If you've never tuned in before, again, this is something we do every week. And the intention and purpose of this course is to provide real financial education, truthful, simple, applicable financial education. Okay, when I say financial education, that's knowledge of and understanding of money, right? That's the entire intention of this course. So that being said, we're going to be doing a lot of discussion of the topic of money, right? It just makes sense. Now, the reason why we do these courses, I want to give you guys a quick backstory. The reason why I do these courses, and I've been doing these almost every single year or every single week for about 3 years now. And the main reason behind it is money was something that I always wanted to understand, but didn't. Right? I didn't have anybody in my life growing up that was going to teach me about money. It wasn't something that came easy for me. It wasn't something that we naturally had. And so I teach these courses because as I started learning about money, I was like, man, life would be so much easier for so many people if we understood money. If we understood money and there was no confusion on it, there was no misemotion on it, there was no problems regarding it. Okay. Now, a lot of my life growing up, my problems did revolve around money. Okay. It was something that my parents didn't have a lot of money. I watched when I was a kid. My parents got divorced over finances. We lost our house over finances. We lost our car over finances. We were homeless because of finances. As an adult, I was homeless and my wife was homeless when we first got married because of finances. So it was like a recurring thing where I just had struggles with money. And when I finally got interested in like learning about it, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to talk to. When I started learning about money, the sources that I was going to, even though they sounded true, turned out not to know what they were talking about. It turned out they weren't credible. And so I had this thing of like, man, I want to know about money. I don't know where to go. It seems like every time I get some information about money, and tell me if this is true for you too, every time I would get some information about money, it was kind of true, but not totally. And what I mean by that is I would apply it and what I thought would happen would kind of happen in a way, but not entirely. And so it just seemed like it was always kind of this half done, halfway there thing. So when I finally started learning about money, I was like, man, I need to start sharing this. I need to make sure that this is easily available for everybody because let's face it, money is second to oxygen and gravity in life. Okay, it's something all of us are going to deal with. There's no opt-out system. Like there's always going to be money. There's always going to be finances, economy. Like that's something all of us have to put up with and deal with. So it makes sense that we should understand how it works. Okay, so that's the purpose of these courses. Now, we're going to talk tonight about how to avoid financial distractions. Okay, before we dive into this, I do want to lay down a couple of my weekly ground rules. So number one, if you have something I say that doesn't make sense, if it's a financial term, if it's industry slang, it's a phrase, whatever it might be that doesn't make sense to you, I want you to stop and ask. Okay, stop and ask or stop and look it up. Okay, and I would rather have you do that than go through the rest of the course not knowing what it is that I'm talking about because you're not going to continue. When I don't understand stuff, that's when I quit. That's when I leave. That's when I decide I'm done because it doesn't make sense to me. So during this course tonight, if I'm talking about something and you're like, yeah, I didn't get that, just stop and ask because I want to make sure that you stick with it because this is information that's going to help you. Okay. Now, the second thing is, again, there's two groups of people that are going to be on this on a Friday night. There's going to be people that are intent and focused on learning about money. There's also going to be trolls. Okay. The people that are intent and focused about learning about money realize that they could have gone out tonight, probably had Halloween plans. They could have done stuff. They decided, no, I'm going to stay home and learn about finances because money and wealth matter. And I want to be financially free and I want to take responsibility for my life. I have a family, whatever it might be. And these people are sacrificing, potentially fun for learning. That's awesome. And that's why I do these courses. So that's my group. If that's you, the second group of people, they didn't have any Halloween plans. Okay, they're going to do the same thing they do every Friday night. They're going to stay at home. They're going to be a bum, and they're going to get on Instagram and Facebook at some point and start trolling, right? So if that's you, go away. Like this is not at your course. This is not for you. This is an environment of learning. So we don't want the class clown here. We don't want people being distracting. We don't want people making fun of others. And most of all, we don't want people that are actually engaged in this to feel like they can't ask questions or share what they're feeling or thinking because they don't want to get criticized or made fun of by some troll in the comments. Okay. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. And then finally, the last thing here is ask questions. I always will answer your questions. Okay, so leave them in the comments. At the end of this, I'll get to them and I'm going to answer them and go over them. So this is financial related. So stick with questions about finances. And without further ado, we're going to get to it. So guys, tonight's course, and this is something I'm very excited about, is again, the topic of money. It's understanding how to avoid financial distractions. Okay, understanding how to avoid financial distractions. Now, for me, growing up, I didn't know there was anything other than that, right? So when I say financial distractions, I mean that, you know, an individual as let's say for me in my background, when I was financially distracted, it meant that I was uneducated about money. And because I was uneducated about money, I would get money and I would spend it on things that did not financially help me. Okay, they did. So like as a kid, I had a job. My dad owned a painting business. I worked with my dad probably from the age of like 8 or 9 all the way through high school. Okay, painting, and I was making $5-10 an hour at that age. Okay, so you can imagine, like, I made plenty of money before I even got into high school, but I blew all of it. And the reason I blew all of it is because I was putting it towards financial distractions. Things at the moment that for me, they seemed like a good idea. I could rationally make sense of doing it, but it actually wasn't helping me long term. Right? So I can remember buying basketball cards, basketball shoes, candy, toys, you know, anything I could think of, video games, like just because I had money and I could buy things, I did. Okay, now the problem was, is as I started getting older, I never realized that that's not actually how life works. Okay, I started getting older, I started having bills. I had rent, I had a car payment, I had insurance all of a sudden. And so I never had this reality check or training on like, hey, in life, there's going to be things you spend money on that you don't necessarily care about. You're not passionate about paying rent. Right. So I didn't think about that. I was like, well, I have more money now. I can spend more money. And so I would spend more money on at the time, it was bodybuilding. I was a competitive bodybuilder. So supplements and nutrition and trainers and coaches. And what would happen is at the end of every month, I would be broke. Right. And so like fast forward a couple of years, the result of this was I had this habit of spending money on things that I emotionally wanted. And at this point in my life, again, fast forward a couple of years, I now had financial goals, right? I had realized like, I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to have no savings. I don't want to work the rest of my life. So I want to start doing smart things with money. So there's like almost like two sides of me. This side of me was like, like the conscious thing, right? This side of me was like, do the right thing, save money, pay off debt, earn income, yada, yada. This side of me was like, go get a car, go buy the new iPhone, right? Go get that sick new pair of shoes. Right? Like go buy things that are emotionally fun to have. And I was so accustomed to the first half of my life listening to this voice, this guy, this thing, go buy the crap. Right. And then I was trying to now phase over to like doing smart things, listening to this guy. More times than not, I would listen to the stupid voice of go buy the stuff. Right. And here's the problem is every time I would do that, it would set me back. It would set me back financially because I had, you know, a goal of this and this is a straight line from here to there. Right. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And I would veer off course to go get involved in these things that I was emotionally excited about and interested in, even though they did not help me with my finances. Okay, so I want to talk about that tonight. Now, here's the thing I want to address before I really dive into this topic. Everyone does this. Okay, everyone does this. Doesn't matter who or when, like everyone does this or has done this at some point of life. So as we're watching this and we're talking about this tonight, I don't want anyone to feel like they're the only one. Okay, we have all made dumb financial decisions. We all get distracted with money. We all get things, you know, with our paychecks, our savings, our investments that don't make sense. So don't feel like I'm this financial sinner and I can't tell anybody about it and I'm all by myself. Like we all do it. Everyone in the stream does it. We're all common in that way. Now, a financial distraction, because we've talked about financial traps before. So I want to differentiate between the two of these. A financial distraction is self-induced, right? Nobody made me do it. Nobody tricked me into doing it. It's like fishing, right? I've always thought this about fishing. Like, how many fish do you think watch their buddy bite a lure or a freaking worm and then get yanked out of the water? Probably hundreds or thousands, right? Okay. But they all still do it. They're like, oh, I shouldn't bite that. They see the little lure in the water. Like I shouldn't bite that. That's going to kill me. I've seen it kill my buddy. And then before you know it, and they hook, right? That's how we are with money sometimes, right? So a financial distraction is self-induced. It's not the mortgage where the bank's tricking me into it. It's not the credit card where the bank is tricking me into it. Those things might be involved, but typically a financial distraction, I kind of knew it wasn't a good idea. That's what I was saying. There's that two-way dialogue of do this or do that. I kind of already know it's a bad idea. I kind of already know it's not the right move. I kind of already know that it's going to set me back. Every single time I've gotten involved in a financial distraction, I kind of already knew. But then I would start to make sense of it and rationalize it in my head. And that's the interesting part we're going to talk about, the stories we come up with to rationalize these financial distractions. So again, the biggest difference between a financial distraction and a financial trap is a trap I'm not usually aware of. I have good intentions when I get involved in it and I think it's a good idea, and then it turns out it's not. A distraction, I really didn't have good intentions. I knew it was a bad idea. I knew it was going to set me back, and I did it anyways. Okay. So that means that on the subject of financial distractions, I'm going to be a lot more direct and blunt on this. On traps, you didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. On distractions, I freaking knew about it the entire time, did it anyways. Big difference there. Okay. So I want to talk really quick about like, what are some of the ones I've done? What are some of the financial distractions I've done? So we can open up some communication about this. So I would say the biggest one for me early on in life was vehicles. I like cars. I don't know anything about them. So any of you guys that are watching, like, oh, Jerry likes cars, I can talk to him about cars now. I'm illiterate on the topic. I like them. They're visually aesthetic. I like to drive them. I don't know what make, model, engine, any of that stuff, but I like to buy them. And so early on in my life, starting at the age of 19, I bought my first vehicle and financed it. Okay, immediately I was hooked. That was one of the easiest transactions I ever did. I walked into a car dealership, said, I want that one. And then 3 hours later, walked out with a vehicle. So I was like, man, that was easy. Like next time I want one, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to walk into the car dealership, do the same exact thing. So that's what I did. I had several vehicles where I bought them, financed them. They went down in value because a car is not an asset. And then I traded it in for another one, rolled over the negative equity, financed that with the new vehicle. And I did that 3 or 4 or 5 times. And I was always upgrading my vehicles. You can ask anybody that knew me in my early 20s, almost every year or a couple times a year, I had a new car, right? And so that was a big thing for me. That was a distraction. I was looking at, it's fun to ride. It's aesthetically pleasing. I might look cool. I appear successful because I have a new vehicle. Wait, what was really happening was my car payment was $350. My insurance was $300. And I had to buy tires because it's Alaska. So every year I had to buy tires. That's freaking $600, $800. And I was only making like $3 or $4 grand a month at the time. Right. So you count up a $300 car payment and a $300 insurance payment, plus, tires and all the other stuff that comes with a vehicle. And that's about 20% of my income just going to car stuff. Right. I didn't think about that when I'm in the car dealership buying the car that I'm emotionally attached to because I'm distracted. Now, if I would have sat down and done the math, I maybe would have seen this is 20% of my income. I'm trying to follow the 40% rule and save 40% of my income. Well, there went half of that towards my car, right? Before my vehicles, it was bodybuilding. Okay, this was one that I was passionate about because I kind of wanted to be a professional bodybuilder. I was really into it. I competed in several shows. I won several shows. It was something I just enjoyed doing. So I would spend, money on nutrition, easy, a couple $1,000s a month on that, supplements, coaches, trainers, programs, you name it. I was doing everything a bodybuilder should do. Right. And so for me, I was spending, several $1,000s a month on bodybuilding. That was a distraction. I look at that course of my life. That was from probably the age of 17 or so when I really got involved in it to about the age of 21. That's like 3 or 4 years, like a couple grand a month going away. What if I had kept that? I wasn't thinking about that at the time because I was like, I'm going to be a professional bodybuilder. And I was distracted by this thing that I was emotionally attached to. Okay. Prior to that, it was just fun stuff. Right? Just fun stuff. Like I would, go on trips with friends. I would buy food whenever I wanted to, and that was when I was just getting my first earnings. Right. So I was kind of like in that mode of like freedom. Like I can get whatever I want, whenever I want, because I have money and I don't need to think about it. Okay. And I remember at that age, like I would just buy whatever. If I wanted to go out to eat, I did it. If I wanted to go to the movies, I did it. I didn't think about it because I didn't have any bills. So I just had discretionary income. Okay. I didn't realize that at that time, those were distractions because I didn't have a comparable magnitude of like real financial responsibilities But those were things that I put money towards. I put money towards basketball, like I said, basketball shoes, basketball cards, games, toys, everything you could think of as a kid, right? So that's my whole list of like things that I got distracted with. As a business owner, it actually became personal development. I was the course buyer. I would buy this course and that course and this course and that course and this book and that book and this book and that book, read all of them and do nothing with it. That was a financial distraction. I wasn't actually like achieving goals with it, but it was something I was emotionally attached to. I liked the good feeling of reading a personal development book and taking a course and feeling like I got something from it, even though I didn't have any sort of results after I took them. Right? So we all do this, and I share mine to kind of lower the barrier so that we can all start thinking with, okay, yeah, like I did all of that. And it's something that we can all relate to. Right? Now, I want to kind of break down though tonight, how do we identify a distraction? I'm going to whiteboard this out for those of us that are on Zoom here. Okay, so I want to whiteboard this out. If we're being distracted, right, we have point A, and then we have point B. So if I have a goal, I'm trying to get from point A to point B, right? That's really what's happening. It doesn't matter what the goal is. Let's say I'm in debt, point A, trying to get out of debt, point B. I have no savings, point A, trying to get savings, point B. I'm trying to have passive income, which I don't have any yet. Let's say I'm at point A with none. I'm trying to get to point B where I have some. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the shortest distance between these is a straight line. Straight line. Go boom, boom. I'm there, right? There's no reason to go like squirreling all over the place and taking detours and going backwards. Like that doesn't make any sense. Okay. And there's only two reasons why I wouldn't go in a straight line, right? So I'm either going to, I would say three actually. I'm either going to not go in a straight line because there is no point B. And this is the first anatomy of a financial distraction. The first one is I don't have a goal in the first place. Okay, who's been there? I've been there where I didn't have financial goals in the first place. So it's like, I'm not trying to get out of debt. I'm not trying to save money. I'm not trying to invest. I just have a job and income and a paycheck, and I feel like I can do whatever I want with it. I've got no goals at that point. I've been there. So I can't go A to B because there is no B in the first place. So I'm just wandering around and aimlessly going about my life and doing all this random stuff with finances. And really, I don't have any sort of target. Okay, this is the most dangerous because this person doesn't know they're not on track for something because they're not looking at anything. There's no target, there's no end zone, there's nothing like that. So this person is completely oblivious. And I've been there, like I said, where I didn't even think I was being distracted. Even though I would go here to do this thing and I'd go there to do that thing and here to do this thing. And my mindset here was that I'm just being free. Okay, this is back when I quit on money. I looked at money. I realized it wasn't backed by anything. It wasn't real. I was like, well, I'm not going to take it seriously. I'm not going to like work my entire life for this stuff if it's not backed by anything. So I was just like, well, I'm being free. I can spend my money however I want to and do this and do that. And I don't have to worry about anything, blah, 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 blah. And that worked till I got married. Because at the point where I wasn't married, it was just me. If I ended up homeless, it was just me. It didn't matter. I didn't care. I was going to be fine. Then I got married, and now there's another person here next to me, and they also have an A. And this person might actually have a B. And if they're trying to go here, this is why it's so important for spouses to talk about finances. If my wife is trying to go to her goal and she needs my help to get there, but I'm off here in la la land, just going all over the place, like I'm actually going to pull her off her goal. That's not cool. Right? But that's what was happening. So when I got married, I realized that and I was like, oh, okay, hold up. I have to get rid of all this. I need to have a goal. Okay. At that time, I was like, all right, let's get out of debt. That was my goal. Okay. So I have debt because I was being done with my money and I had credit cards and car loans and all of this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm married. Let's get out of debt. Let's pay off our debt. That was the first goal. I was here. Now, logic would have been, all right, great. So let's go pay off debt, A to B. Instead, I didn't necessarily do that, right? And I used to be a personal trainer and a bodybuilder. So I kind of relate this to dieting. I was now on a financial diet. I was like, okay, I have a goal and I'm trying to get somewhere. Who's ever dieted where you start craving things, right? As a bodybuilder, like before a show, I would freaking crave everything. The last 4 weeks before a competition are hell. all you eat is freaking chicken and vegetables and fish and vegetables and drink water. And that's it. There's no cheat meal. You haven't had one in months at that point. So I would crave burgers and pizza and chicken and cake and pie and everything you can imagine. And if I got my hands on one, I would freaking take it out. I would eat, 2 pepperoni pizzas all by myself. Right. So similarly with finances, as soon as I put myself on a goal, I started to crave things. Okay. I was like, all right, well, I know I need to pay off my debt, but I want the new iPhone. Right. And it was never good things. It was, I know I need to do this, but I want to buy this, I want to go out to eat a couple more times this week, or I want to take a day off from work and call in sick when I'm not really sick because I just want to enjoy this nice sunny weather. Like those are the things. This is the second type of distraction are basically like cheating, right? So my goal is here and I have a distraction. We're going to call that a cheat. In bodybuilding, I called it a cheat meal. Here we can call it a cheat expense or a cheat whatever, but I would cheat on my financial plan. I would go over here and do this instead. Okay. And now I'd be over here. Usually I would lose progress on my goal. And then I would have to go all the way back here and get refocused. Be like, okay, I'm going to pay off the debt this time. I'm really going to do it. I'm serious about it. It's funny how much this relates to fitness and physical health. I'm really going to do it this time. I'm serious. I'm not going to fall off the wagon. I'm going to do it. And then I start going over here and then I cheat and do this instead. Right. I spent so much time there. Had a goal, knew what the goal was. So it wasn't a case where I didn't have a goal. I knew what the goal was. Right. And so I'd start cheating. I'd be like, and it was stuff that I had built behaviors on. This is the thing is finances are the scoreboard for our human behavior. If I have no money, that's representative of my behavior. If I have debt, that is representative of my behavior. If I can't make progress, that is representative of my behavior. The last 10 years of my life, I built the behavior of if I want something, I buy it, regardless of my plan, regardless of my income. So I have this now ingrained behavior, this pattern. And it's 10 years of pattern. And I've just started on this new plan where I'm trying to go from point A to point B, maybe been on it a month. And I'm expecting that this 10-year track record that I've built up is just going to dissipate and disappear. Right now in bodybuilding, I don't know why it was different. In bodybuilding, I knew how to combat this. I knew I was going to want to cheat on myself. I knew that I was going to want to cheat on the diet and eat stuff I wasn't supposed to. So I'd put preventative measures in place. Okay. I'd put preventative measures in place. And that was something that I did, right? David has a question really quick. David, I'll answer your question. If you want to be on the Zoom call, go to my Facebook instead. Instagram does not have Zoom. So if you want to see the screen share and a little bit more of the interaction, go on my Facebook. It's just Jerry Fetta. You can go on there and see it. It's public, open to everybody. So it's on there right now. Just check that out. All right, time in. So in bodybuilding, I had preventative measures and I knew I was going to have days where I wanted to cheat on the diet and I had ways to stop that. With finances, I didn't put any preventative measures in place. Okay. So the anatomy was that I either didn't have a goal or I did have a goal and I was cheating on it. And then the other part here that I'm going to hit was I had a goal going from point A to point B, but I was looking at other people, right? I had my peers over here. I had the people I went to church with and went to school with. And so I knew that I was supposed to go from point A to point B, but my buddy just bought a new car, or these people are going on a vacation, or these people are buying a house, or these people just financed the new TV, or these people just got new furniture. And now it's called keeping up with the Joneses. Now I'm off my goals, which was pay off debt, become financially free. And I'm now trying to keep up with them. This is one of the most insidious ones, because if you're a competitive person like I am, someone else does something, you're like, I got to do that. They buy a new house. Man, should I buy a house? They get a new car. Oh, I need to get a new car, right? They get the new furniture set. You're like, I wish my couch was that nice. I wonder how much it is to finance that. I could afford, $200 a month for a couch. So you start competing. I started competing with my peers and doing what they were doing instead of focusing on my own plan. Same thing. Now I'm distracted. Okay. Now I want to again point out, I did all of these things. This was not somebody taking my goal away from me. This was not somebody putting a gun to my head and making me cheat on my financial plan. This was not my friends beating me up and pulling me into doing all of the activities they were doing. This was my own decisions, my own choices, right? Now, the result is I didn't achieve my goal. It took me a lot longer to get there. Eventually I did snap into it and achieve my goal, but it took me a lot longer to get there. Okay. So these are all things that like are distractions financially. Okay. Now there's different categories here that I want to share with you too. I'm just going to break this down, right? We have expenses, which is what we've covered for the most part. Expenses, like things that I spend my money on that really don't align with my goal. And I want to be really clear here, guys, because on the topic here, a lot of us like mix all of the concepts together on expenses. I am not saying don't buy things, and I am not saying be frugal, and I'm not saying live on beans and rice. Let's get that straight. Okay. Earn more than you spend, always earn a lot. I don't care what the hell you spend, just earn more than you spend. Okay. What I am saying is I should save 40% of my income. That's my goal. So if I'm doing things that prevent me from saving 40% of my income in the realm of expenses, that's a distraction. I should have no consumer debt. That's a goal. If I'm doing things that interfere with me having no consumer debt, regardless of what they are, that's a distraction. I should have passive income. If I'm doing things that are counter to me having passive income, regardless of what they are, that's a distraction. So this is not whip yourself in the back and live off of beans and rice. I'm not saying that. Like if you buy, where I'm from, you buy a beater, like buy a beater with here, you buy a beater, you end up stranded on the side of the road and you freeze to death. Like, so this is not just the arbitrary mindset of be frugal and live as a minimalist. Like if you want to do that, great. That's not what I do. I'm just saying, if you have goals, don't do things that interfere with your goals in the realm of expenses, right? So I want to clarify that, because some people will get into like the Dave Ramsey crack pipe of like, don't spend money on anything and budget till you die. It's not what we're saying. Not at all, right? So there's expenses. The other one here is income. Okay, these are not in any order, by the way. These are just throwing out 3 categories. The other one is income, right? So I have to make sure my expenses align with my goals. I also have to make sure my income aligns with my goals. Now, this is the one that more times than not, people neglect and ignore, right? If I have financial goals, I better go make more money. Early on in my career, I had the mindset that some people were able to make more money than others and other people weren't, and they were at a disadvantage. And so if somebody wasn't making enough money, it's not polite to tell them that they should go make more, because that's wrong and they might feel bad and it's not their fault. Now, because I've been in both camps, when I wasn't making money, 100% my fault, 1000% my fault, I would even say. I had no disadvantage. It wasn't because I didn't go to college. It wasn't because my parents were divorced. It wasn't because of my socioeconomic status. It wasn't because most of the kids in my school did drugs or went to prison or whatever. Like none of that stuff. I was just poor at making income. So I was making choices. Again, this is behavior. I was making choices with my behavior that were not congruent to earning enough income to achieve my financial goals. That's also a distraction. For me, what it was is, think about this. I told you that I used to like to spend money on anything I wanted, whenever I wanted, no restriction. Okay. When I spent money on that, that meant I wasn't working. I wasn't producing. I was consuming. In life, there are 2 groups of people, producers and consumers. Okay. So I was consuming, not producing. When I wasn't producing, I wasn't conscious of that. I wasn't intentional. Like I'm going to go not produce. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go enjoy my money now. As a byproduct, I wasn't working. I wasn't generating income. So it was not something I was conscious of, but I flat out was building up the behavior of consuming more than I produce. When I consume more than I produce, then I switch my goal. And I'm not even aware of this. I now have the 10-year track record of consuming. Therefore, I sabotaged myself by avoiding production because I wanted to consume. When I would cheat on my financial plan, I was now consuming. Buying the car, buying the couch, doing this, doing that. I was taking time off of work to do those things, right? If I saw that in Alaska, it's summertime and it's sunny out and we hardly ever get sunshine, I'm going to take the day off of work, right? Distraction. I'm now not working. My income just went down for the week. That affects my financial plan directly. That's a distraction, right? So there's the income side of it too. There's me, not earning enough income and not doing the things to earn enough income. I've been in the camp where I wasn't earning much money. I remember when I was making less than $1,800 per month. When me and Lexi first got married, I was making less than $1,800 per month. Okay. You try living like that. It's almost impossible. right? So the income factor, I just wasn't making enough money because I wasn't behaving in a way to make enough money, because I was focusing my actions and my interests and my doingnesses on consumption, not production. Okay, consumption, that's a distraction. If I'm not financially free yet, consumption is a distraction. Okay, it's kind of like someone running a marathon or saying they're going to, and they start carbo loading. But you know how people load up on carbohydrates? You don't need to do that if you're not actually going to run, right? Who's seen The Office where he eats the Alfredo and he's going to run like 3 blocks and then vomits all over the grass? That's what I was doing. I was like consuming, but I didn't actually produce to cause the necessity for that consumption. So not earning enough income is a distraction. Things that take me away from earning income are a distraction, right? And again, these are not tricks and traps. They're not emergencies. It's literally, I'm going to take 2 weeks off and go to Hawaii and have a vacation when I can't hardly pay my bills, or I'm not saving money, or I've got debt, or it's nice out, so I'm going to fake like I'm sick and get the time off of work. Like those are things I would actually do. So there's this group of income, right? This is one of the distractions. The other one is events. Events can serve as financial distractions. Okay. I learned this the hard way early on in my business when I started becoming a salesperson, having to run a business and sell. Basically from October 31st to like the second week of January, I was distracted. I had events and holidays and parties and get-togethers and this and that, everything under the sun, events that would cause me to spend money, that would cause me to not earn income, or that would just suck all my attention. Okay, a little bit of a sarcastically trick question. What event is happening right now that's sucking up everyone's attention? The presidential election, right? I'm not political at all, but the bottom line is after November 3rd, they're going to elect one of the 2 old white guys, and you're still going to have to hit your financial goals. Doesn't matter which one they picked. You're still going to need to hit your financial goals. So if this event of we're going to vote for an old white guy to rule the country sucks my attention off of my financial goals, I'm now distracted. I'm not going to be on track for my financial goals. I'm no longer going from A to B. I'm going from A over here or over here, depending on which side I'm fixated on, left or right, instead of forward. Left and right is not forward, guys. Left and right is left, right. It doesn't matter which one you pick. It's a distraction, right? So events can throw us off our game. This is something that it's hard for us to confront the events because usually there's an emotional attachment, right? Halloween party, Christmas, Thanksgiving, the relatives come for 2 weeks when you think they should probably only be there for 3 days, but you can't tell them no, they have to leave because it's mom and dad and whoever else, and they're staying way too long. Distraction, right? So I can't, and this is my point with this, guys. If I'm not at the finish line yet, I should not be taking a break, right? Who's heard the story of the tortoise and the hare? Okay, the moral of that story is not slow and steady wins the race. Okay, you have a tortoise, little turtle, right? And then you have a hare, right? The hare, give him the big old feet and the ears, right? The moral of the story is when you're not done with the race, don't lay down and take a freaking nap. Right? The hare, he looked at the finish line, his goal, A to B, and he knew he was almost there, and instead he went and took a nap. That's why the tortoise beat him. It's not because the fast guy doesn't win. It's not because slow and steady. It's because this guy took a nap in the middle of his race because he got distracted, because he didn't understand like his goal. And then this is part of what I want to lead into with this. Like, and I'm not saying don't go slow and steady. Some people are slow and steady. I know people that they have, all of this stuff going on with life, and it's just not a goal for them to be financially free in 10 years. They'd rather be there in 20 or 30 years. And that's okay. A goal is a goal. It's not my job to tell you your goal is wrong. Your goal is personal to you. Mine is personal to me. So you can be the hare. You can be the tortoise. Either way, though, don't stop in the middle of the race. Don't take a nap when you're not done yet. Like, get to the finish line first. Right. And so this is like what happens is people, they feel like they're doing well. The hare, he felt like he was okay. He's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Right. Every bad financial decision I've made started with, oh yeah, I'll be fine. right? And I want to get into this next part of the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of it, right? But the hare was like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. I'm going to take a nap. Took a nap. Tortoise freaking beat him. He got beat by a turtle, right? Now, granted, in real life, this didn't actually happen. It is a story and it is based on Russian propaganda. So we probably shouldn't listen to it too much, but I'm just saying, objectively speaking, anybody that takes a nap in the middle of the race is probably not going to hit their goal. Okay. Now we have our 3 categories of distractions. The next thing that I want to talk about is called a justification. These are the stories we tell ourselves to make sense of the distraction. Justifications, right? Starting to explain away something, starting to say why we did it. Okay. I know some of my clients watching right now have kids. I'm not a dad, but I understand the human mind well enough to know that if I had kids and they start telling me what they did and then immediately start explaining why they did it without me asking them why they did it, it means they did something wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel the need to explain to me why they're doing it. So as soon as I start having to explain unsolicited why I'm doing something, it means that I know I did something wrong. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to back up what I said. I wouldn't have to try and make sense of what I did, right? So when we have these 3 areas of like the first area of distraction, not having a goal. Okay, I remember when I had no financial goals, my justification, the way that I made sense of that and explained it away to the degree that I was okay with myself to have no goals was, well, money's not real. Or I would look at my parents and be like, well, when I was growing up, all they did was stress out and fight over money. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to do whatever I want. I'm not going to do the money thing. It's a trick, right? That was the story I would tell me. I've heard people say money's the root of all evil. Rich man can't go to heaven. All of the wealthy people I know are greedy. Like all of these stories that those of us that don't have financial goals would tell ourselves to make sense of not having financial goals. Okay, these are justifications. These are things that only happen as a byproduct of us knowing we're in the wrong, right? We don't explain things when they don't need to be explained. So if we feel like we need to explain it, it means we did do something wrong. I was explaining away why I had no financial goals to myself. No one else asked me. Here's the thing, guys, and this is why this is so important. Nobody is going to hold you accountable to your personal finances. Nobody asked me, Jerry, why don't you have financial goals? Nobody got on me and said you should. Nobody counseled me through it. Like nobody cares about your money. It's yours, right? It's money. It's its own accountability system. If I don't have money, I'm broke. If I don't have money, I don't have a house. If I don't have money, I don't have a car. If I don't have money, I don't eat. The accountability is built into it. So nobody is going to stop me when I'm using a poor reason to have a distraction in my life financially. Nobody's going to save me. Nobody's going to tell me it's a bad idea. I'm going to just experience pain. Now, what I want to share with you guys tonight is like, let's identify this stuff so that we don't have to experience pain. Pain is when I do something dumb financially and I pay the price in some way, shape, or form financially because of my dumb mistake. Okay. So the justification for not earning income, right? That's what I had. I had no goals. So I wasn't earning income. I was just spending whatever I wanted to. I had the justification, and the pain was when I got married, even before I got married. This is like one of my most embarrassing stories ever. In high school, my girlfriend, Lexi, my wife now, had to help me pay for my groceries. That was painful, guys. I didn't have money for groceries. And my 17, 18-year-old girlfriend, who's still in high school, who saved up money from her summer job, helped me pay for my groceries one week because I didn't have any. I had a full-time job. I just had no financial goals. I spent all my money on other stuff, right? That's embarrassing. That's painful. My justification lasted until that happened. And then I was like, oh crap, this is affecting her. I better change. Right? So that was what I had there. Now, the other one was the expenses. The expenses are where we get creative, guys. Like, be honest with yourself. Think about the last couple times you bought something dumb. How did you make sense of it? Right? I had one where I bought a car. I didn't need a car. I bought a car, and somehow I convinced myself that the car that I currently had might blow up. I don't know how. I'm not a mechanic. No one told me it was going to blow up. I had no actual logical reason to think that that would happen. But I somehow made sense of like, well, this car, what if it like blows up and breaks down? I need a new vehicle. I need something safe. I need something that I can rely on. Boom, new car payment, $500 a month. That was my creative story, right? I've seen people make the craziest reasons and stories for why they spend money on things that they shouldn't be spending money on. And again, guys, this is not beans and rice and frugal. This is, I was trying to go from A to B and somehow I went to freaking W. Like I'm not even on the board of letters anymore. Now I'm doing numbers. I went from A to B to number 5. Like, how did I get there? People will come up with creative stories. That's justifications. So as soon as I start justifying, it means that I shouldn't have done it, right? Same thing with the income. When I really started realizing I need to earn more income, I actually had peers in my life that I started hearing their justifications for why they're not doing what I'm doing. I never told them they should be. They were just like, you're going to work your life away, right? They were like, well, you know, you're going to work your life away. Money's not everything. Have fun once in a while. Stop and smell the roses. Like I didn't ever ask them for advice, but they just automatically started giving me advice, which is their own justifications on why they're not doing what they need to be doing to earn the kind of income I was trying to earn. I started going full in, made people uncomfortable because they started seeing like Jerry's about to break out, right? So I started hearing their justifications shared with me. These are all things that really do happen. These are all things we say, right? Now, the final thing that I want to kind of line up here is we have to have our goal, right? So that's B. This is us at point A. We have to have our goal going from A to B. And we also need to have measurements. This is another reason why people don't make progress. This is the reason why I didn't make progress. I wasn't measuring anything, right? I need to have measurements that I can check off how close I am to my goal. Okay, there's something to be said when I'm going from A to B on my goal and I'm here more than halfway there and I start thinking about getting distracted, right? I start thinking about, you know, the presidential election. I start getting sucked into that and I'm now no longer producing because people don't pay me if I'm thinking about politics all day. Or I start thinking about an expense that I want to make. I want to buy a new car when I don't really need one, right? I start making sense of it, right? So if I've been tracking my progress, I can see how far I've come. I can see how close I am. I can then start to rationalize with, if I go over here and I buy this car over here, I'm going to abandon all of my progress. All of that's gone now. Boom, all that work done. I'm this close. So I'm also now going to have to start over. So I'm not going to any longer be this close. I'm going to be all the way back at the starting line. It's going to take even more time. And I can start to actually logically look at, okay, this is a bad decision because I can measure. I can measure and look at, here's how much I've put in. Here's how much I've had to do. Here's how close I am. I don't want to give up how close I am, and I don't want to forsake all the work I put in. Right? This is why programs like with weight loss, Weight Watchers work. So you have points. You know your points. You have your points added up at the end of the day, and it's like, I'm that close. Let me get there. I'm not going to cheat and ruin my points. Right. This is how we have, you know, sports. We start counting points and scores and we start looking at, we're close to the end of the game. We're below by this many points. Let's make a run for it. You don't quit till the game's done. Right. So it gives me the ability to actually have that mechanism in my life. This is one of the reasons why people don't make it. So we've got to have a goal. And then we've also got to be tracking our numbers. Okay. The number is going to be based on whatever the goal is. Right? If my goal is pay off debt, then I should be tracking how much debt am I paying off. Okay. If my goal is savings, I should be tracking how much money am I saving over a certain period. Right? If my goal is passive income, I should be tracking how much am I investing, how much am I getting in passive income. These are all stats we should track. By tracking these stats, it's going to keep us from getting distracted. When I was a bodybuilder, I would track macronutrients, my calories, my protein, my fats, my carbs. I had it down to a science. I would weigh my food every single meal. I had everything down to a science. When I felt like cheating on my diet, I would look at my food log that day. I would look at how many calories I ate. I'd remember all the meals I prepared, everything I cooked, everything I ate. And I'd look at how many calories I have left versus how many calories I was going to get if I eat the Big Mac. If I eat the Big Mac, I'm going to get freaking 1,800 calories. I only have 600 left, which means I just wasted an entire day of clean eating. An entire day because I decided I wanted to eat a Big Mac. I'm not going to do that to myself. right? So those are ways that we can help prevent distractions from happening, is by having goals. Another way is tracking the goals. And then another way is looking at cause and effect. Cause and effect, right? We know what our goals are, right? If we have goals, we understand them. We understand how we get there. We can look at cause and effect, like what's going to happen if I do this? What is the logical outcome of this decision, right? So if it's one of those three categories, expenses, income, or events, right? So if I'm going to buy, let's say, a $5,000 couch because it looks really nice and I want to have a decked out living room, cause and effect. I buy this cause, what will be the effect? Okay, this one is simple, but it's like magic. People don't do this anymore. This is called thinking ahead. Okay, this is called actually being proactive and like having some prediction and logic on like, this will be the result of my decision. Every decision has a result. So if I look at the effect and I'm like, okay, I buy a $5,000 couch. Now I don't have $5,000 in my sacred account. I'm not going to be able to pay off those next 2 credit cards. Or let's say I'm saving up for an investment and I've got 40K put away and I'm like, well, I'm going to take 5 and put it towards a couch. Now I've only got 35. I was 10 grand away from having 50 to invest for cash flow. Now I'm 15 grand away. That's going to set me back by 4 months. Is that couch worth it? No. Okay, good. Let's not do it. Same thing with the income, right? Cause and effect. If I don't earn income, right, that's the cause, meaning I'm going to take time off from work or I'm not going to produce what's needed. What's the effect of that? Okay, that one's more long-term. If I bought the couch, that's one time, right? If I don't earn income, that's every month. Every month I'm going to suffer for that. What's the effect, right? The solution, by the way, to earning more income is go earn more income. There's no magic to it. Work and produce, right? Don't like that? Too bad. That's the way life works. See, even life works. Now, the third one is events, right? So I can get sucked up in politics or holidays or, media or whatever, riots going on. We've had plenty of that in 2020, right? What's the effect of me paying attention to this stuff all year long? Right? Attention is important. Attention is where I'm putting my mind at. Okay. So if I'm saying I have financial goals, I want to invest, I want to save more money, I want to pay off debt, I want to earn more income, but I'm putting my attention on Trump and Biden and COVID and riots and this race thing and that race thing and this gender thing and that gender thing, I'm not going to hit my goals. Okay. Who's ever played a sport where you throw a ball at something? I played basketball, right? You had to be really good to look at something that other than the hoop, shoot the ball, not looking at the hoop and still make it. It's football, same thing. If you're going to quarterback, like you're probably going to be looking at your wide receiver when you throw the ball to him. If you're looking at your coach and you throw your ball to the wide receiver, it's probably not going to get there, right? If I'm in baseball, I probably am looking at where I want the ball to go over the pitching mound before I throw it. I'm not looking at my mom in the stands. So when I think about just cause and effect with events, if I'm putting my attention on the elections, it's not going, I'm looking away from my income. I'm looking away from my financial plan. I'm looking away from all of this stuff that's going to move me forward. If I'm putting my attention on COVID-19, I am looking away from things that actually will put me in a position where I don't have to worry about that. Okay. So this is so critical, the attention piece, because the events are the ones that are socially acceptable because it didn't cost any money. Right. I didn't spend money to pay attention to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. That didn't cost me any money. It was free. It was free, right? Really, it wasn't free. It costs me my goals. Okay. So when I start thinking about it in that respect, like, man, I have to really look at, okay, am I earning enough income? Am I putting in the effort? Am I staying focused there? Am I putting my money towards the right things? Am I staying focused there? Right? Am I putting my attention and my energy toward the right things? Am I staying focused there? This is not a game of financial distraction. It's also not a game of like I said, being like financially like destructive and whipping ourselves over the back so that we can stay on track with the budget. Like, that's not fun. This is no different than any goal you had. You wanted to do art when you were a kid, you set a goal and you did it. You wanted to be good at sports, you set a goal and you did it. Right? You wanted to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. You set a goal and you did it. There was no like distraction. Think about like, what is one of your greatest achievements in your life? There was no distraction because you just wanted it that bad. When I wanted to be in bodybuilding, I didn't have to worry about being distracted because I wanted it that bad. I wasn't going to go look for reasons not to win. right? Like if I wanted to be successful in business and I really wanted it, I didn't have to worry about it. I wasn't going to worry about getting distracted. So I'm going to wrap up with this. The root behind all financial distraction is not understanding my goal and my purpose for that goal well enough at a deep enough level. And then also not understanding the connection between which statistics are going to produce that goal. Again, my goal is debt. Why? What is it going to look like when I get there? How do I know I've gotten there? What's the next thing after that goal? Like, I need to have all this stuff clearly written out and figured out in my life. And then I need to understand which statistics produce paying off debt. How do I start measuring that? How do I make sure I'm on track and I have progress? Right. And the result of that is finances then become easy. Because if I have distractions, it's like having resistance. It's like driving and having like a parachute tied to the back of me. It's going to just be work and effort and slow me down. When I get rid of that, I'm streamlined, baby. I can go as fast as I want to, as long as I want to, and it's no effort at all. Okay, that really is what it's like. And it's hard to grasp that when we're distracted because we're not thinking about where we're getting to. We're thinking about all the work it's taking, what we could be doing instead, how if we do this thing that we are going to do to win with our goals, it's taking away from this thing that we could have fun with instead, and we're sacrificing. Guys, when we're distracted, we use words like sacrificing. Okay, I have people that'll tell me like, man, you sacrifice an incredible amount. Guys, I've never sacrificed a day in my life. Because I'm not distracted. I know my goals. I'm not sacrificing. I'm freaking investing. Difference in mindset there. When I'm focused, everything I do is an investment towards my goal. When I am distracted, everything I do feels like a sacrifice. Okay. So that's what I want to hit you guys with tonight. I do want to wrap up for questions here. I hope Facebook didn't shut my video down because I said stuff about Joe Biden and Donald Trump and COVID-19. I think they actually might have. But let me open up for questions here. I want to go ahead and hit my questions on Instagram first. And then we'll go over to, Facebook. Oh no, it looks like I'm still live. Good. So let me hit Instagram questions first. If you guys have questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. Instagram has a 60-minute timer. So that's why I'm hitting them first, is I know that that's going to run out soon. And I do not want to leave anyone hanging. I know what it's like to have a question that never got answered. Let's see here. I'm not seeing any. Okay, David has a question. He says, when we're talking about saving 40%, are we talking about saving 40% of the gross income or the net income? We're talking about gross income before taxes. So saving 40% of what I make before taxes. Big number. It's not though when you consider if I get rid of all of my debt, if I reduce my taxes, if I would reduce my housing costs, if I increase my income. These are all things that are going to help me increase that savings rate. So that's my thought there. The 40% is of your gross. David said there's a limit to how much you can save. There's no limit to how much you can make. Focus on money generating activities. David, that's correct partially. So there is also no limit on how much you can save. So if I save 40% of my income, the more I earn, the more I save, and that's never going to stop. So it's a percentage-based ratio. It's always going to go up as long as I keep earning more. But you are right that it's tied to my income. So if I stop earning or I stop earning more, then my savings are going to be capped because I capped my income first. Let's see if we got any more questions here on Instagram. Good. I don't think that there's any more questions on Instagram. So I'm going to go and sign Instagram off. I'll see you guys next Friday. Let me answer Facebook questions next, and we'll hit Zoom as well. Awesome. Justin, good to see you. Sean, great to see you. Justin is awesome. Justin says, I'm on a date and educating myself. That is the definition of being on the same page with your spouse. That's awesome. Sean says, hopefully the date doesn't mind. I don't think she does. His wife, Megan, is on board with all of this stuff, which is awesome. Josue, great to see you. Justin has the sups. Good to see you, Sean. Good to see you guys. Justin says, just bought a new rifle. Okay, Aaron has a question. Aaron asks, advice to a younger college grad with little experience in accounting, but want to double my income in 5 years or less. All right, Aaron. So this is going to sound a little bit brutal, but it's honest and it's truthful. And if you do this, it will help. In your question, I would get rid of the mindset that you're younger, that you're a college grad, and that you have little experience. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares that you're younger. College grad doesn't help with anything. And experience, like, go get experience. That's how you get experience, is you get experience. And the reason I say that is there's an entire generation of people that are going to college, they're graduating, and they have this mindset that I'm young, I'm just starting out, I have to get the paper to show that I'm credible and pay all this money to go to college and then build up experience so I can earn more income. I did none of that. Okay, this is not to brag. I'm just saying I did not go to college. Okay, I started with no experience in the financial industry. I was younger. I still am younger. I'm 28 years old, right? So those are not bad things. Like, it doesn't hurt or help to be younger. It doesn't hurt or help to go to college, and it doesn't hurt or help to have little experience. But if that becomes my viewpoint, is that I'm younger, that might actually hurt me, because that's my viewpoint. I might think I'm going to get less opportunities because I'm younger, and the adults are going to think I'm less credible because I'm younger. Michael Jordan was younger. LeBron was younger. Tiger Woods was younger. Nobody cared because of how good they were, right? The college degree thing, like, honestly, 50-50 chance that somebody, less than 50-50 chance that somebody goes to college and gets a degree in the field that they went for. So I wouldn't even talk about that. It's just a piece of paper. Nobody cares. What can you do? Right. And then finally, experience, like, just go get the experience, go produce, go work, go find, ways to be involved with accounting. And that will help. And I love your goal of doubling the income in 5 years or less. Aaron, I think a small firm is where it's at anyways. I think you're going to have a better time at a small firm than you would at a larger firm. The smaller firm is the one that's willing to accept someone that's younger with less experience, regardless of their education, because they're willing to take risks for growth. A larger firm, they're going to stick you in the meat factory with every other college grad that they got that goes through the same process. And it's going to be, maybe a good experience, maybe not. You go to a smaller firm, you're going to learn a lot more, I think. Josue says, I will admit that I should be focusing on much more on producing rather than reading. I need to balance that out towards production. Josue, that's a great point, and that's very good of you to have the awareness level to see that in yourself. So, like, the reading and the growing and the learning thing is good, but think about, what is the purpose of that, right? The purpose of learning is to do. So I need to balance out learning with doing. And I need to make sure when I learn something, before I go learn the next thing, I stop and make sure I can do the thing I just learned. This is where schools have gone so wrong. As you pass a test and then you're on to the next subject. Life doesn't work that way. If I learned about taxes, then I don't go do something regarding the taxes to make sure I can apply what I learned, and I just move on to investing. I'm not going to know about taxes, but I'm also not going to know about investing, because I'm still caught up in trying to make sense of what I just learned on taxes. Gene says, I'm 49 and college is a waste of time. There you have it, guys. Let me see what we have here on Zoom for questions. Brad, good to see you. Bobby says, I sent you an email with a DM, want to learn more about private lending. Bobby, I actually emailed you back. Check out your inbox. You probably got that maybe yesterday or the day before. Good to see you, by the way. All right. I do not see any other questions here. Let me see if there's anything else on Facebook. I think that covers it, guys. So thank you all for watching. Make sure that if you watch this and it helped, you share it, get it out there, and make sure other people can see it first. Oh, Aaron has a question on buying a duplex first property. My opinion on buying a duplex for your first property. So Aaron, I would say first, make sure that you're out of consumer debt. Second, make sure you got 6 months in your sacred account. Third, when you buy the property, save 20% of the down payment, buy it with an all-in-one loan, which is a line of credit instead of a mortgage. Your cash flow will be way higher. And if you do all of those things in all of that order, then I think that that's a great move. Now realize you're going to live in the duplex and then move on to the next one. So the purpose of that is cash flow, not to be a landlord. I would outsource all of that stuff. So you're not doing any work. I would even try and make sure the tenants know that either you're not the landlord at all, they have no idea, or they know that you're the landlord and you just don't give a crap. That if they reach out to you, you're just not going to help because you have managers for all that stuff. And I say that because the video last week, I would go back and watch that, Aaron. Passive income is the goal, right? So if they know I'm the landlord, that is not passive income, right? If I'm not earning income, that is not passive income. So that is all of our questions. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and tune out again. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Have a happy Halloween. Make sure you do some great trick or treating, but not with your finances. We don't want you buying into any tricks or treats. We want you staying on your goal, on top of things. See you next week, and I will talk to you all soon.